Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the global diamond market. And let me tell you, as of late 2025, it's a fascinating story. It's like two completely different worlds are existing at the same time. In one, business is absolutely booming. In the other, it's facing a real crisis. So let's break it all down.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off with the holiday shopping season and let's call it the hidden reality behind the scenes. Then we'll get into this massive divide in the market, not just by size, but shape too. We'll take a quick trip around the globe and then wrap up with the big disruptor that's changing everything, lab-grown diamonds. Okay, first up, the holiday rush. You know, if you just look at the surface, especially over in the US, you'd think everything is fantastic. But once you start to peel back the layers, well, you find a much more complicated and honestly a more worrying picture.
I mean, the energy out there is just undeniable. We're talking a record 158.9 million shoppers expected for Super Saturday in the US alone. Suppliers are scrambling to fill orders, sales reports look solid. So yeah, on the surface, it seems like the industry's thriving, right? But that is only half the story.
Because while all those retailers are busy ringing up sales, the wholesale market, the real engine room of the industry, is kind of sputtering. We're seeing some really troubling trends, especially for the diamonds that aren't the big, flashy holiday showstoppers.
And here's the real kicker. This holiday boom is not lifting all boats. Not at all. There's a huge weakness in the market for smaller diamonds, the half-carat and under crowd. It's so bad that suppliers are actually slashing prices. Meanwhile, the market for raw, uncut diamonds, it's so quiet that traders are already expecting price cuts come January.
And this weakness in smaller stones, it's not just some holiday fluke. Nope. It's actually a symptom of a massive divide that's slicing right through the entire market. It's becoming crystal clear that in today's world, not all carats are created equal.
This right here, this is the core of the story. It's like there are two completely separate diamond markets running at the same time. On one side, you have these big, rare stones, 3 carats and up, and demand is strong, prices are firm. It's a seller's market. But on the other side, the smaller stones are dealing with a huge oversupply, and prices are just falling.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is what people inside the industry are saying, word for word. You hear this from trading floors in Israel all the way to showrooms in Hong Kong. This split is what's defining the entire game right now.
This chart just lays it all out visually, doesn't it? If we think of it like a weather map, the 7-carat plus category is red hot. The middle range, around 2 carats, is stable, pretty mild. But then you look at everything under 1 carat, and it's just ice cold.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole divide, it's not just about how big the diamond is. It's also about its shape. It looks like, at least at the high end, going for a fancy shape is actually the new classic.
Yeah, for a minute, just forget about the classic round diamond. In those bigger, more desirable sizes, it's all about these elongated, really elegant shapes. They're outperforming everything else. In fact, word on the street is that top-quality marquises and long cushions are getting really hard to find.
And this demand, it's not just hype. It translates directly into cold, hard cash. Buyers are willing to shell out a serious premium. We're talking 20 to 25% more for a desirable long cushion cut over a similar square one. So yeah, shape matters. A lot. But of course, there's a flip side to that coin. If your diamond doesn't have the in shape or a top-notch cut, well, good luck moving it. Princess cuts are really weak right now, and traders have a great word for fancy shapes with bad proportions, illiquid. And that basically means you can't sell it, period. In this market, it's all about quality and trends.
So you might be wondering, is this happening everywhere? Is this a global thing? Well, let's take a quick trip around the world's biggest diamond hubs and see how all these trends are playing out.
This table just paints such a clear picture of a global divide, really an east-west split. I mean, look, over in the West, the US and Belgium are seeing that strong high-end demand, and they're feeling pretty optimistic. But as you move east, the mood just darkens. Israel's quiet, and then you get to the huge hubs in India and Hong Kong, and they are really struggling. We're talking low morale, sluggish sales, and slow orders coming out of China.
So amid all of these challenges, especially for that struggling lower end of the market, there's another major force at play, a huge disruptor that's gaining serious ground. And that brings us to our final section, the incredible rise of the lab-grown diamond.
So to really get the impact of lab-grown diamonds, first we need to talk about what's called the fashion segment. So think less about that once-in-a-lifetime engagement ring and more about trendy, fun, accessible stuff like tennis bracelets. This is jewelry where what really matters is the sparkle and the look, not so much the geologic rarity of the stone.
And this fashion segment is exactly where these lab-grown, or synthetic, diamonds are putting a real squeeze on the smaller natural stones. I mean, look at this. In the US, consumers are buying them up. In India, factories are literally switching their production lines over to making synthetics. And in Hong Kong, dealers are turning to them to find the profits that they just can't make anymore on small natural diamonds.
So what does all this mean? Well, it means the entire market is being pushed to two opposite poles. At the very, very top, you've got these huge, natural diamonds being sold as rare investments. And at the other end, you have affordable, beautiful, lab-grown stones totally dominating the fashion world. And that leaves the traditional middle market, those smaller natural diamonds, in a really, really tough spot.
And that leaves us with the big, multi-billion-dollar question for the future of this whole glittering industry. As the top and the bottom pull further and further apart, what on earth happens to that classic 1-carat middle-class diamond that basically built the modern jewelry world we know? That's the big question. Thanks for joining this explainer.